Hello, everybody. This is Courtney from the Give Local team and Family First Health. Uh, Probably like most of you, I can't believe that this event is a week away. Hopefully, everybody's as excited as we are. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Haley. She's our partner from Kimbia and GiveGab, and she's going to run through everything that you need to know for our Give Day next week.
Great, thanks so much, Courtney. Hi, everybody. As Courtney said, my name is Haley Lamb, and I am with the technology provider for the Give Local York website. So I'm very excited to be with all of you today. I was just telling Courtney before we came on the line that I have the chance to work with a lot of giving days across the country, and what is going on in York and what I'm seeing from your planning committee to all of the participating nonprofits, to your media sponsors. It's one of the best, most organized events I've ever seen for a first year. So you all should be proud of what you're doing, and I'm very thankful to the committee and Megan and everyone that is putting forth a lot of effort to make sure next week goes really smoothly. So I'm here today to share with you the main logistical things that you all will need to do on the day of, and make sure you all feel comfortable with the information that's available to you. Before I get started in the presentation, a couple things that I just wanted to highlight. The first is that we are recording this webinar, so if there's someone from your team that's not able to join, we will be posting the link on the Give Local York website so that you'll have access to that, as well as a copy of the slides. So don't worry about taking a lot of notes throughout the call today. You'll have access to a version of the slides. There is going to be plenty of time for question and answers. I probably only have about 30 minutes of talking to do. So over on the right-hand side of your screen, you should see the GoToWebinar control panel. And there is a questions bar there. Type your questions as you have them in there. Everyone's been muted just so we don't have background noise, but I definitely want to be sure that we get all of your questions answered. Courtney will be watching that, and I'll be watching that as I'm talking to make sure we touch on everything. If you have a question specific to your profile or your nonprofit, we can also follow up with you after the call to make sure you get all of your questions answered. So with that, here is the agenda for today. So hopefully logging into Kimbia is something all of you are familiar with. We're going to go through that. I want to show you how you can continue to update your matching funds even though your profile information can no longer be updated. And then I'm going to touch on three very important links that you should have access to and what exactly they're for. And finally, I will show you a preview of what Give Local York will look like on May 4th. So it's always helpful not only for you to see what the site will look like, but I think it's a great opportunity for you to be able to help talk donors through what's to come. So if anyone's asking you questions, you feel comfortable letting them know that you've seen the site and you can relay some information for May 4th. And then, like I said, plenty of time for questions at the end, but if you have them throughout, feel free to type them in as we're going. So first things first, logging into Kimbia Giving Day. This URL, givingday.kimbia.com, is hopefully one that you're familiar with. So when you registered and completed the registration form, you entered in an email address, and then you got an email that had you create a password. And it's at this URL that you use that email address and password to log back into Kimbia Giving Day. Many of you probably logged in to make edits to your profiles, and now you log in to get the information that you need for the Giving Day. So again, go to this URL. If you forgot your password, there's a self-help forgot your password link that you can use. Make sure you can log in. And do it now so that if you do need extra help, Megan and myself can make sure you get logged in well before May 4th with this email address and password. When you do log in now, registration has closed and the ability to make edits is over. So the site is in a lockdown phase is what we call it, as it's getting ready for the event, and we really try to stabilize it so that changes aren't being made shortly before the event. So when you log in, you'll be on the registration page, but there's both a link and a matching funds tab that you still click on and access, and that's what you'll be doing when you log in. So first, the matching funds tab. This continues to remain available for you to update through the event. So what we find is that there are some donors or some businesses that get really excited right before the giving day, and they might want to offer organization a matching fund. And so even though they can't edit the rest of their profile, you can still edit the amount of matching funds that you have available by entering it in this field here and clicking save. So again, many of you have already entered matching funds, and that amount will appear on this line, on this initial matching funds available field. If you get additional funds, or if you didn't have any before and now you do, you can come in and make that change and click save through the event. So again, I'll show you on the page where exactly you see that matching funds available if it's something that's new to you, but this is where you will edit it and click save, and it will automatically update on your profile page. The second tab is the links tab. And when you click on that links tab, you will see 3 very important links, and all of these links are ones that you should have access to, and we're going to go through each one. So the first is the link to your profile page. This link has been live for some of you for many months. So it's the link that is on the Give Local York website right now. You can find it by searching for your organization's name. You can find it from the categories drop down, or you can find it from the leaderboard page. And what it does is it sends donors directly to your nonprofit profile when they type this into the URL. So again, you don't have to log in to get this. Many of you probably already have it and have been using it, and that's great, because when I show you a preview of the live site, a donation form appears on this page right here. So that's why it's important for you to know this URL and for you to use this URL. Many organizations, especially in this last week here, as we're leading up to the day, you might promote your profile page via social media or include it in your email signature. Again, this is the easiest way for donors to give directly to your organization on the event day. So as many places as you want to promote this URL, the better. Lots of times we have organizations put the Give Local York or the Giving Day logo on their homepage with a link to their profile page, so that donors, if they end up on their website, they can get very easily to the profile page where the donation can actually take place. The second link is the link to the donations report. And that will look something like this, lots of messy numbers and letters within it, because this is a unique URL specific to your organization. And what this URL does is it provides you with donor data from the giving event in real time. So this link and the link that you see when you log into Giving Day, you need to be really careful with it. You should not share it with anyone that should not have access to your full donor data. We've had a couple situations where instead of copying and pasting this profile link, we've had nonprofits copy and paste their donations report and share it out. So please be really careful with this URL. It is sensitive because it will have all of your donors' contact information in it. But what you'll do, and you can do this now, none of your reports will have data in them because the event hasn't started, but you copy this URL and paste it into your browser. So into Google Chrome or Mozilla or whatever browser you use. And once you click enter, it will download an Excel file to your computer. So I'm going to open a sample report up, but one thing that I always like to say is just know where your downloads folder go. So for some people, it goes right on their desktop. For some people, it might, go into a downloads folder. So it can really vary based on your computer. But what you can do today is download that file so you know exactly where it goes. Once you open it, again, right now, when you open it, it's going to be completely blank because we have no data. You'll know you have the right folder because up here where mine says York Sample Donations Report, yours will say your organization's name. So if you open the Excel file and see your organization's name, you know you have the right file, and you know that starting on May 4th, once you get donations, they'll populate in there. So let me make this a little bigger here. You will have access to all of the donation information that comes through the Give Local York website. So here is what it will look like as data starts to populate. You'll have the date and time. Of course, all of this will be on May 4th. And you'll also have a confirmation code. This confirmation code is a unique identifier for all of the donations that will come in on that day. So if you happen to be calling the Give Local York team to potentially resend a receipt or to get help with a specific donation record, it's always great if you can share with them the confirmation code. So if the donor's calling you, that's one of the first pieces of information that you can get from them. They'll receive that confirmation code in the on-screen confirmation message that pops up once they've made their gift, as well as in their email receipt. So those are two places you can have them look for that confirmation code. Obviously, you'll see the amount of the gift, and there are situations where refunds happen. So sometimes a donor might get what we call fat fingers. So instead of typing in $50 like they meant to, they typed in $500. So the Give Local York team can issue a partial refund so that the actual net amount of that gift is correct. So that's what that column's for. Not a lot of those come through, but just something I like to make sure you're aware of. So that's why this net amount column, column F, is the one that you'll want to look at in your donation record. Donors will have the ability, and you'll see this on the live site once I show you a preview, they'll have the ability to cover the fee. So there's a fee for the technology as well as the credit card amount, and donors can indicate that they would like to cover that fee. So you'll see that as a true-false response in your donations report. And then donors also have the ability to indicate that they would like to be anonymous. So if they do mark true for that anonymous question, you'll see that everything anonymous is actually the answer that's in that field for your report. But if they do not indicate that they want to be anonymous, you will see all of their contact information. So their name, their email address, their mailing address, and their phone number. The phone number is not required. So I show one blank here, just so you know that if it is in fact blank, that just means the donor didn't take the time to fill out that field. They don't have to, but hopefully most of them will. And then donors are asked whether they're a first-time donor for your organization. So that's why there's this first-time donor column here and another true-false. And then donors also have the ability to indicate whether they're making their gift in honor or memory of someone, or if they were referred by someone, and they can indicate that name there. Again, these questions here are not required, which is why when you download your report, you'll see some blanks and you'll see it filled out sometimes by the donor. I also like to call out that there are two tabs in your report. So what we just looked at is the online donations tab. There's also a tab for offline donations. Again, it will look very similar, and it will include the date, the time, the confirmation code, and the donation amount. It will also indicate what type of gift it was. So the Give Local York team will be entering cash, check, and donor advised fund gifts. So all of that information will populate here. There won't be as many offline gifts, but one thing that can happen is if you're looking at your donation report and you're adding it up and it's maybe $200 less than what you see on the leaderboard, most often it's because people have forgotten to come down and click on that offline donation tab. So just make sure every now and then you click over and look at that. Every time you download this report, your donation data will update in real time. So if it's been a while since you clicked on the link and opened a new file, that's when you want to go in and do that so that you can, again, continue to see that donor data in real time. We hear really great stories from donors and nonprofits across the country who are sending emails and thanking donors in real time. And it really does mean a lot for the donor. I can actually say we had an event going on yesterday in Connecticut, and I made a gift and I received a thank you email within the hour. And a lot of times what that does is that gets your donors just as excited, and they might go right back to the site and give again, because most often when you make a donation, 30, 60, 90 days later, you might get a thank you. And so you can use this report to be thanking your donors in real time, and it's shown to have great results for the day. Remember that this report is just going to show you your donation net amount. It does not show prizes or the incentive pool or any fees associated with it. So it's just going to show the true dollar amount. Once the event is over and once you've received your final payout from the K Foundation, please make sure you download a final copy of this Excel document and save it somewhere. The report will continue to exist for about 3 months, but we really encourage you to download a final version and save it so that you have access to all of this donor data in the future, whether at end of year, if you're wanting to re-engage these donors, or next year for another potential giving event. Please make sure you save the final copy of this report so you can have all of that contact information. So there are a couple questions that have come in, so I'll pause and answer them about the donations report. So the first is, did you already send out the link for the unique donation report? And the answer to that is you logged in to Kimbia Giving Day to access this link. So when you log in here with your email address and password, you'll see a links tab right there. And that's what you want to click on to get this donations report link. So again, you have access to it now. When you log in, you should see the links tab, and then you should be able to click on that donations report. It will download a file to your computer and you can open it. It will be a blank Excel file right now, but you know you have the right one if it has your organization's name at the top. Great question that also just came through. It asked, will donations be listed every time you pull the report, or will it only show donations since the previous time you pulled the report? And the answer to that is you will always have access to all of the donations. So the next time I go to pull this report, there might be one more line right here that's filled out, but I will still see all 3 of these donations that have already been made. Great question. So that was everything about the donations report. The third and final link that you will see when you click on that links tab in Kimbia Giving Day is a really lengthy script, we call it. And this is an embed snippet. And what this is a piece of code that's going to display a donation form for your organization, and it can display this donation form anywhere you want it. So most often, what nonprofits like to do is they'll take this bit of code here that's, again, specific to their organization, and they'll put it on their website. What this does is it's copy and pasted just like a YouTube video. What this does is it will display the donation form that's on the Give Local York website on your profile page in other places. So it's just a way to get the donation form out there in more places, so that if a donor ends up on your website instead of on givelocalyork.org, they'll see the Give Local York logo, and the donation form, and they can give a gift right there without having to click through to the Give Local York website. This is definitely not a required step for you to do for the Giving Day. If you don't have a website person and you don't know how to technically edit your website, do not even worry about it. You don't have to do it. You just need to use your profile link in the Give Local York website. However, for those of you that might have a website developer or someone that you can have help you paste this piece of code into your website, it can be a great way to get a few additional donations. The donations flow the exact same way as they do on the Give Local York website. So the donor will receive an on-screen confirmation message. They will receive the same email receipt. Any of the donations will be eligible for the same prizes and bonus pool dollars, and they'll all be tracked on the leaderboard the exact same way. It, again, just gives another place for your donation form to populate. You also have the ability, so you can take that snippet that's there right now in Giving Day, and you can paste it on your website right now. What it will do is it will post this logo and this little bit of content right here. And then as soon as midnight hits on May 4th, this is where the donation form will populate. So again, this is by no means required. You definitely don't have to do it. For some of you, this might be really easy because you're a little more familiar with the back end of your website. For others, you might not even want to go there, and you definitely don't have to. Organizations are just as successful whether they post this on their website or not. So it's totally optional, but it is there if it's something you would like to do. So now with that, the last thing I wanted to go through is a preview of what the site will look like on event day. So let me pull up the Give Local York website. So again, starting at midnight on May 4th, on the homepage, there will be a overall leaderboard that lives up here in the nav bar, and it will display total dollars raised and total gifts across the entire campaign. And rather than counting down to how many days until giving starts, the site will count down to how much time is left to give. The main difference on the homepage is the fact that the site will populate with what we call a multi-give donation form. So this donation form on the homepage allows donors to type in organization's name and give to as many organizations as they would like, and only enter their payment and contact information one time. So you'll see here, I could keep going. We actually had one donor who gave to as many as 122 organizations in one time. If you do have donors that you know want to give to a lot of participating organizations, be sure they're aware of this homepage. This would be a situation where you would not want to direct them to your profile page, because then they have to keep entering their payment and contact information. When they come to the homepage, they can just do it one time, so it's really great. And then they'll be asked to enter their name, their email address, their address, and like I said, then there's phone number, anonymous, is the gift in honor or memory of someone, and referred by. All of these are optional questions that are not required that the donor can fill out. And again, you'll see that it lines up with all of the columns that are in your donations report. So if the donor fills this out, you will see it in your donations report. And then you'll see that they can say that, yes, they would like to cover the fee so that 100% of the gift comes to the organization. and then they'll enter their credit card information. As soon as they click Show Total and Submit, a receipt is automatically sent from Give Local York and the K Foundation to the donor's email address. So when you're looking at your donation data, when you're looking at your report, you do not need to worry about sending a tax receipt or any sort of official acknowledgement. That gets done by the K Foundation with a Give Local York branded email. You can just be sending separate thank you for their donation email or phone call or whatever you like. You don't need to send the actual tax receipt. The other thing that I want to show you is how your profile page changes. So as I mentioned, right now, your profile page just has the information that you filled out during the registration process. Starting on May 4th, you'll see a donation form here. And again, donors indicate how much they like to give, and then they'll see that same donation form that was on the homepage that includes contact information, whether they'd like to be anonymous, if they're a first-time donor, an honor or memory of, and referred by, before they enter their credit card information. So again, this is what will the change, and then all of your other profile page content exists below the donation form. So this is why sharing your profile page URL is really important, because that URL is exactly where this donation form is going to populate. The other most frequently visited page on event day is the leaderboard page. So right now, when you go to the leaderboard page, you'll see that all of the organizations that are participating are listed in alphabetical order. Once the event starts, they'll sort by the number of gifts. So those organizations that have received the highest number of gifts will be at the top of the leaderboard. But all of these headers can be clicked on. So if you want to see who's raised the most money, you can click on total dollars. And if an individual would like to see the organizations listed in alphabetical order again, they can click on the organization header and they'll all sort. There will also be a prizes tab right here, so that you can come here to see who has won the different prizes as the Give Local York team starts to award them. So that is everything that I wanted to touch on the live site. I do see we have some questions coming through, so I'll start to answer those. But just know that that's all of the content for today. So if you do have questions, please send them our way so we can get them answered. Courtney, hopefully you can answer this question. If not, it's one that we can follow up with Megan. But can you touch on how offline donations are working?
Yeah, absolutely. So if anybody hasn't checked their email this morning, Meg did send out an email titled Give Local York Prize Clarifications. And as you scroll down in that email, Meg talks about offline gifts. So the process for submitting these will be, number one, as long as your donor's intent is for their contribution to go toward the Give Local campaign on May 4th, you can accept the gifts in advance of May 4th. But checks should be dated May 4th by all accounts possible. And the checks are made out directly to your organization. So there's a Google form that you'll have to fill out, and that link is in the email that Meg sent. It'll ask you to fill out the requested information, donor contact info, amount, whether it's cash or check. And then we're also going to require you to upload a photo of the donation so we can verify its existence. Once you upload that and hit submit, the submissions will populate a Google spreadsheet. And then that gives the Give Local York admin members the ability to input the gifts into our Give Day system. If you don't have a Google account, it would be a good time to create one. That'll just cut down on issues for us on May 4th. The Google form, the link that's in this email, that form will not go live until May 4th at midnight. So there won't be any advance inputting of offline gifts. The other thing to remember is offline gifts will only be accepted until 9 p.m. on May 4th. And that's just to make sure that the admin team has enough time to get all those in by the end of the night. And then any donor who has submitted an email address will receive a receipt confirming that offline donation. But then the important thing to remember for that is you will be responsible for sending the appropriate tax recognition for checks that come directly to your organization. So just real quick, when you make the online donation during Give Local York, you'll be receipted by the K Foundation. If checks are made out directly to you via offline giving, you have to receipt those checks. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. But again, Meg sent that out this morning in an email. If anybody hasn't received it, feel free to type in that question box or whatever and let me know, and I'm happy to resend it to you.
Great, thanks, Courtney. We also had a couple questions come in about what the fee is. So if the donor chooses to cover the fee, it's 6.3%. And you'll see that here. I went one step further in this donation on the homepage where you can see it shows the donation amount, the fee amount, and then therefore the total before the donor will click submit. And yes, the default for this question is set to yes, and we have found that to be best practice across the country. When the site sets the answer to yes for covering the processing fees, donors cover the fee right around 70% of the time. So that's great news for you all, that most often donors do cover that fee. We had a question, is there a site that donors go to find all nonprofit participants? So definitely, that's givelocalyork.org. So right now the site is up, and there are a few different ways to look at which organizations are participating. The easiest is this Discover Nonprofits dropdown, where all of the participating organizations are sorted by category. Donors can click there to see the different groups. And then they can also use the Find an Organization search bar in the top of the page. That works just like a type ahead on Amazon or any other site that you might use. As you start to type in your organization's name, you'll populate there so you can get, again, directly to that profile page URL that we've talked quite a bit about. It looks like there are a few more questions, Courtney, coming in about checks. So if they have specific donor questions about checks, should they email the Give Local York team to answer that, or?
Yeah, anybody can email me directly. Meg's at a meeting right now giving a presentation on Give Local York. I'm more than happy to answer anybody's check questions if you just want to email me. My email is C as in Courtney, Lewis, Lewis, at familyfirsthealth.org.
Great, thank you.
And if you send those to me today, I'll get back to you by the end of today.
Great. So one other question about the match. If our match donor already gave us their match check, do we use the offline donation tool to record that? So if it truly is a match, then you'll want to log into Giving Day and record it. When you click on the matching funds available, you'll want to record it there because then it will display on your profile. So if we can find an organization that has a match. So the Appel Center for the Performing Arts is an example that has indicated they have matching funds available. They haven't indicated how much, but you'll see right here, if $500 had been entered into that field, that would populate on their profile, so donors would know that they have that amount available for the day. So again, that's why you want to enter that amount through Can Be a Giving Day so that it can appear on your profile and get donors excited. Is there a public running list of all donors that participate that day? No, there's not. So nowhere on the site does it list specific donors. What we encourage you to do is, as you're using your donation report, if you want to give specific shout outs on social media about your donors, you definitely can. Again, just wanting to make sure that if a donor did indicate that they wanted to be anonymous, you won't have that information. But other than that, there's nowhere on the site that you'll see donor names. We had a question, when can we put the donation form on our website? So my assumption is that's referring to the embed snippet right here. You can copy and paste this and put it on your website, and you can do that now. So if you do it before the event, you'll see the Give Local York logo in a little message so that donors understand that they can either visit Give Local York now or come back on May 4th to see that donation form. So again, putting it on there now, and this is what will populate right at midnight on May 4th. This will turn into a donation form on your website or wherever you have it placed. So we did have a question about editing the match provided by language if you just found out you have a match. So all of that content has been frozen on the website. However, if it is really important or an emergency to get that updated, you can email Megan at Give Local York, and she and I can work together to see if it's something that we can get updated between now and the event. So I believe we have caught up on all questions. Again, I'll say that we have recorded this presentation, so we will make both the recording and the slides available sometime later this afternoon on the Give Local York website so that you guys can have access to them there. And if there are any other questions, you can reach out to Courtney or Megan, and if they need my help, I'm obviously here to help them and all of you guys be successful. So Courtney, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think this was great. Again, everybody, please reach out to Meg and I if you have questions. We're here to help and make sure that you guys have the best event possible. And we're looking forward to making history with you guys in York County next week.
Great. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.